Hello, this is a poem which seems appropriate to the time. It's by Wilfred Owen, Dulce et decorum est. It finishes with a quotation from Horace, the Roman poet, Dulce et decorum est, pro patria Mori. How sweet it is and proper to die for one's country. And in Wilfred Owen's hands, this is a statement which becomes ironic. It's even turned upside down in many ways. The poem is built like a sonnet or like two sonnets, but it's fragmented. Bent double like old beggars under sacks, knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we cursed through sludge, till on the haunting flares we turned our backs and towards our distant rest began to trudge. Men marched asleep. Many had lost their boots, but limped on bloodshod. All went lame, all blind, drunk with fatigue, deaf even to the hoots of gas shells dropping softly behind. Gas, gas, quick boys! An ecstasy of fumbling fitting the clumsy helmets just in time, but someone still was yelling out and stumbling and floundering like a man in fire or lime. Dim through the misty panes and thick green light, as under a green sea I saw him drowning. In all my dreams, before my helpless sight, he plunges at me, guttering, choking, drowning. If in some smothering dreams you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in and watch his white eyes writhing in his face, his hanging face, like a devil's sick of sin, if you could hear at every jolt the blood come gargling from the froth-corrupted lungs, obscene as cancer, bitter as the cud of vile, incurable sores on innocent tongues, my friend, you would not tell with such high zest to children ardent for some desperate glory the old lie, Dulce et decorum est pro patria Mori. So, when Wilfred Owen wrote this, he wrote it in hospital while he was recovering in Scotland, and he sent a letter with the poem to his mother. Here is a gas poem from yesterday, he said, in 1917. He was killed in action a year later, 1 week exactly before Armistice Day was declared on the 11th of November, 1918. It was published posthumously in 1920. In the book of poems, there's a preface which he wrote, "This poem is not about heroes. My subject is war and the pity of war." And this poem is about war, it's about propaganda, it's about heroism and the proper place to think of these things. If you look at the poem, it's written in 4 stanzas. The first 2, the first one, I feel the theme is ultimately religious. There's imagery taken all the way through this poem from religion, be it the constant march of the dead souls in Dante's Inferno, or indeed images of devils, images of pain, images at one point of ecstasy, and you think of that statue of Saint Teresa by Bernini, frozen in time. So starting with stanza 1, we have the 2 similes of the old beggars and the hags, witches, old women. This isn't an image of heroic soldiers, this is an image of the sick, broken people. And then to mirror that, you get the broken Iambic pentameter. There is a sense of a march, but it is broken. And in line 5, the punctuation completely interrupts the rhythm of the Iambic pentameters. Bloodshod, pick up that. Many had lost their boots but limped on bloodshod. Like horses walking in their own blood. They're shoed with blood. Deaf to all the hoots, Hoots and boots pick up the occasional rhymes, which emphasize these words. The trauma of war has intoxicated or anesthetized the soldiers. They're walking as if in a dream. They are lame, they are drunk, they are blind, they are deaf. This is the image of hell. And then later, he says, like a devil sick of sin. Like a devil sick of sin. In stanza 2, a gas attack. This is chemical warfare at its worst in the First World War. And one man is caught. This is like an anecdote in a speech. So the poet is giving a speech about the horror of war. And as you would in a good speech, you would tell a story and then make it personal. So this is the story that Wilfred Owen tells about how one of his friends, one of his comrades, was caught in a gas attack, and he witnessed the death of this friend. An ecstasy of fumbling. This ecstasy, what is this? This isn't anything joyous. This is a sense of trance, a sense of time standing still, exactly like the ecstasies of the saints. Caught in the moment. Again, religious imagery. This isn't happiness, but it's about somebody lifted out of this world. And then, as if, to emphasize this religious dimension, Wilfred Owen sees this through misty panes, to see through a glass darkly, to see underwater, not being clear, the green death, the green mist. Stanza 3 is a very short stanza, where it all becomes deeply personal. In all my dreams, before my helpless sight, he plunges at me, guttering, choking, drowning, the tears guttering down his face. This is one of the symptoms of being hit by gas, a symptom of gas inhalation, this weeping, choking, drowning. And then into stanza 4, where he makes this whole story. He appeals to the reader. He's saying, well, what do you think of this? He confronts the reader and those people at home who might have been saying, this war is glorious. If you had witnessed his death struggle, if you had seen his eyes, and then like a devil's sick of sin, that's such an ambiguous phrase. Sick of sin, tired of sin, but also sick with sin. What sort of sin? The evil, squalid sin. Not dying in glory, but dying as dying in pain and dying slowly. Death on the battlefield, says Wilfred Owen, is not honourable or noble. It is dirty and painful. And the last lines, we're told, may be to a person called Jesse Pope, who wrote The Call to persuade young men to enlist in the First World War and to fight in this noble cause. Not noble and not easy. And throughout the poem, look at the assonance, the alliteration, and the theme of nightmares, that theme of and the rhythm of the constant trudge, the constant march of the soldiers, which is through the broken iambic pentameter. So, one other line, of course, chewing the cud is what cows do, but here we've got this inhaled gas. It makes the victim chew and gurgle, bitter as the cud of vile, incurable sores on innocent tongues. Innocent tongues, we think of somebody singing. We think of the innocent tongues of choir boys, of children singing praise, innocent tongues. But here we're thinking of sores caused by gas inhalation, and tongues eaten away by disease, which so quickly overpowers the victim. So I say this is very relevant today because we're thinking of a war which could so easily turn even darker. We're thinking of the threat of chemical attack. And here it is, writ large by the great Wilfred Owen in the First World War. So, death in war is painful. That's what he's saying.